choice you make costs you something. Not just the big, scary ones, not just the ones that keep you up at night. Every single one, including the choice to sit on your hands and do nothing. People like to think that doing nothing is some kind of safe middle ground. Like if you just don't decide, you've somehow beaten the system. But that's not how it works, and honestly, most people already know that. If you never plant anything, don't act surprised when harvest time rolls around and you've got nothing. You're always paying for the life you're living. That's not me being harsh. It's just how it is. The only real question is when you pay and what you get back. When you put in the work now, when you learn, build, push through the uncomfortable stuff. Yeah, that costs you. But you're getting something real in return. You're trading your time and energy for skills, for options, for a future that actually looks different from where you started. That's a trade worth making. But when you duck the work, when you pick comfort over growth, easy over hard, familiar over necessary, you're still paying. You're just paying with a worse exchange rate. The price of doing nothing shows up as missed chances. And that's one of the quieter tragedies out there, because missed chances don't announce themselves. They don't knock on your door and say, "Hey, I was here and you weren't ready." They just leave. The opportunity that was sitting there last year might not be there this year. The window that was wide open in your 20s might be barely cracked by your 40s. The relationship, the business idea, the perfect moment, none of that waits around forever while you get your act together. So the person who keeps hesitating and putting things off isn't just standing still. They're falling behind where they could have been, and that gap gets wider every season they let slip by. Doing nothing also costs you options. This one sneaks up on you, but it's just as real. If you don't build a skill, your choices in life get smaller. If you don't grow your knowledge, you can only solve so many problems, and the opportunities that come your way shrink to match. If you don't invest in your relationships, you end up without the kind of trust and goodwill that opens doors. Options don't just get handed out equally to everyone. They pile up for people who invest in themselves, and they quietly vanish for people who don't. Someone with a bunch of developed abilities can go in a lot of directions. Someone who's invested in nothing, they've got very few paths left, and the ones that remain usually aren't great. And then there's the cost you can never get back: time. Pretty much everything else in life has some chance of a do-over. You can make money again. Relationships can sometimes be fixed. Health can improve. But time only goes one way. Once a day is gone, it's gone for good. That's why the habit of saying someday is so quietly destructive, because someday never actually shows up on a calendar. There's no date circled in red. There's just today and whatever you do with it, and then tomorrow, which asks the same question all over again. The person who really gets this doesn't become anxious about it. They become intentional. They start looking at their days not as something to get through, but as something to invest. When you start seeing this clearly, your decisions start to feel different. Not heavier in a stressful way, but heavier in a meaningful way. You start to realize that spending an evening doing nothing worthwhile isn't neutral. It has a price tag. You start to see that skipping the hard conversation, dodging the discipline, settling for less than what you're capable of, none of that is free. There's a ledger somewhere, and everything gets written down. The person who wakes up at 50 wondering how their life ended up this way didn't get there by accident. They got there through thousands of small choices that each seemed like no big deal at the time, but added up to the life they're living now. Here's what shifts when you truly accept this. Since you're always paying no matter what, the question stops being whether to pay and becomes what you want to pay for. That's a way more useful question. Do you want to pay now? In effort, discipline, the discomfort of growing, the humility of learning? Or do you want to pay later in limitations, regret, and the quiet frustration of knowing you had more in you than you ever used? Both payments are real. You can't dodge either one. But only one of them gives you something worth having. The cost of discipline is always cheaper than the cost of regret. And the person who gets that stops treating hard work like something to escape and starts treating it like the smartest investment they can make. There's something else worth mentioning about the link between your choices and how you feel about yourself. When you make the harder choice, when you do what you said you'd do, when you follow through even when it'd be easy not to, something builds up inside you. Not just skill or progress, but a sense that you can count on yourself. A quiet confidence that comes from keeping the promises you make to yourself. And when you don't make those choices, when you take the easy road too often, something else builds up instead. A nagging doubt about whether your word means anything. A slow erosion of trust in yourself when it matters. That's another hidden cost of avoidance, and it's one of the biggest. The direction you pick today is building the person you'll be 5 years from now. That's not a metaphor. It's just mechanics. The habits you form, the standards you keep, the effort you put in or don't, all of it is quietly assembling the future you. And that future version has to live with the choices being made right now. They'll have the abilities you chose to develop, or they'll be missing the ones you chose to skip. They'll have the relationships you invested in, or they'll deal with the loneliness that comes from neglect. They'll have the financial stability your discipline created, or the financial stress your avoidance caused. You're not just making choices for today, you're making them for every version of yourself that hasn't shown up yet. So the challenge isn't finding a way to escape the cost. That escape doesn't exist. The challenge is being honest enough to see the cost clearly and smart enough to choose which price you're willing to pay. The person who looks at their situation honestly, who stops pretending that doing nothing is free, who stops acting like avoidance is neutral, that person is ready to start making better choices. They're ready to start trading their time and effort for things that actually matter. And when that shift happens, even in small ways, the direction of a life starts to change. Not overnight and not without continued effort, but it changes, and it's real. There's a principle behind every ability you'll ever build, and it's simpler than most people want to hear. What you repeat becomes what you can do, not what you try once during a burst of motivation, not what you attempt on a particularly focused weekend when the stars align and you feel ready. What you come back to consistently, long enough that it stops feeling weird and starts feeling normal. That's what actually becomes yours. That's what becomes part of how you operate. And the flip side is just as true. What you quit on, what you start and stop, what you visit now and then but never commit to, that stays just out of reach. Always something you could do in theory but never quite pull off reliably. Most people have the wrong idea about how skills get built. They think the secret ingredient is intensity. That if they just push hard enough in one big burst, something will click and the ability will stick. And yeah, intensity matters. But intensity without repetition is like one rainstorm in a drought. It helps, but it doesn't solve the problem. The ground soaks up what it can and the rest runs off, and a few days later, you'd barely know it rained. Skills work the same way. One big push gives you some results, but those results fade fast if you don't reinforce them. The ability doesn't take root until you've come back to it enough times that your mind and body start recognizing the pattern, start anticipating what's needed, start responding more from instinct than calculation. What repetition really does at its core is get rid of hesitation. This is one of the most underrated things about consistent practice. When you're doing something for the first or second or even fifth time, there's a layer of hesitation baked into everything. You're not just doing the task, you're also managing your uncertainty about the task. You're doing the thing while simultaneously asking yourself if you're doing it right, if you're missing something, if the next step is what you think it is. That inner questioning eats up energy, slows you down, and causes mistakes that aren't really about being bad at it. They're about being unfamiliar with it. As you repeat the task, that questioning gets quieter. Not because you've stopped thinking, but because you don't need to think about the parts you've already absorbed. Your brain power gets freed up for the stuff that still needs attention, and your performance gets better, not because you've become a different person, but because you've cleared out the friction. Think about anything you do today without really thinking about it, and trace it back to when it was brand new. There was a time it took your full concentration. There was a time you made mistakes you don't make anymore. When you had to slow down for steps you now breeze through. That change didn't happen because of talent. It happened because of repetition. You did it enough that it became part of your wiring. And here's what that means for everything you currently struggle with. The thing that feels hard today isn't necessarily going to feel hard forever. The difficulty might not be your ceiling. It might just be where you are in the repetition cycle. You haven't done it enough times yet for the hesitation to fade and the control to kick in. That's why one of the most important decisions you can make is choosing carefully what you're willing to repeat. Because repetition doesn't pick and choose what it builds whatever you feed it. Repeat productive habits and it builds productive capacity. Repeat avoidance and it builds a really well-developed ability to avoid. Repeat excuses and it builds a fluency with excuses that eventually runs on autopilot. Repeat precision, care, and follow-through, and it builds a character that naturally expresses those things without much effort. The process doesn't judge whether what you're repeating is good for you. It just reinforces whatever you keep doing. That means the person who's spent years repeating bad habits has built something, just not something useful. And the person who's spent years repeating disciplined behavior has also built something. And what they've built gives them an edge that can't be taken away overnight. There's also a side of repetition that people rarely talk about, and that's what it does to your relationship with hard things. When you first hit something challenging, the difficulty feels huge because it's unfamiliar, and the unfamiliar always carries a certain weight that has nothing to do with how hard the task actually is. It feels hard partly because you don't know it yet. But as you keep coming back to it, the difficulty doesn't necessarily go away. It just becomes familiar difficulty. And familiar difficulty is way more manageable than the unknown kind. You start to figure out where the hard parts actually are. You learn which steps need your full attention and which ones you can cruise through. You build a mental map of the challenge that lets you navigate it more efficiently. And eventually, what once felt like a wall starts to feel like a familiar road with some hills. Still takes effort, but it stops catching you off guard. There's a word for what happens when enough repetition has stacked up and the hesitation has faded and the control has kicked in. Competence, real competence, not faking it, not looking like you know what you're doing, actually being able to do it reliably under different conditions without needing everything to be perfect. Competence is what separates the person who can perform when everything's ideal from the person who can still deliver when they're tired, under pressure, and things aren't going their way. And competence is built through one thing above all else, showing up for it over and over. There's no shortcut that gets you the same result, no substitute that builds the same foundation. Now here's where it gets personal. Most people quit before repetition has had a chance to do its thing. They start something. They hit the difficulty that comes with being new at it. They don't see the improvement they were hoping for right away, and they decide it's not working, or that they're just not cut out for it. So they stop. Then, a while later, the motivation comes back and they start again, and the cycle repeats. Start, stop, start again, never sticking around long enough for the repetition to stack up into real ability. The result is a life full of beginnings and very few things that actually went anywhere. Full of stuff they've tried and almost nothing they've gotten good at. The frustration from that pattern is real and totally understandable. But the problem isn't a lack of talent. The problem is leaving before the compound interest of repetition has had time to pay off. Sticking with something long enough is its own kind of discipline, and it takes a specific type of patience. Not passive patience, not just sitting around waiting for results. Active patience. The kind that keeps you showing up and doing the work, even when the feedback is slow, the progress isn't visible yet, and the whole thing still feels awkward and unnatural. That kind of patience is rare, and that's exactly why the people who have it tend to build abilities that set them apart. When most people have already bailed, the person with active patience is still at it. And the buildup from that continued effort is what eventually produces results that look, from the outside, like some kind of natural gift. What you choose to repeat consistently, you'll eventually understand deeply. What you understand deeply, you can apply with confidence. What you apply with confidence, you can build on. And what you build on becomes the foundation for the next level. That's the architecture of real growth. It doesn't happen randomly and it doesn't happen fast, but it happens with surprising reliability when you stay with it long enough. The question worth sitting with isn't whether you have the talent for what you want to achieve. It's whether you're willing to repeat the necessary work long enough for the talent to develop. Because for most things that matter in life, that willingness is where the real difference gets made. There's something that gets left out of almost every conversation about hard work, and it's this. Effort by itself isn't enough. That's a tough thing for some people to hear, because effort feels virtuous, and it is virtuous. But being virtuous doesn't guarantee results. The person who works hard in the wrong direction doesn't get rewarded just because they worked hard. Life doesn't grade on effort alone. It grades on outcomes, and outcomes are shaped not just by how much you put in, but by where you aim what you put in. Direction isn't some minor detail in the equation. It's one of the main variables, and when it's wrong, no amount of extra effort fixes it. Extra effort in the wrong direction just takes you further from where you want to be, faster. Think about what it actually means to aim wrong and then work harder. You're not canceling out the problem with your effort. You're making it worse. Every hour invested in the wrong direction builds more distance between you and where you actually want to go. And the tricky part is that hard work in the wrong direction often feels productive while it's happening. You're busy, you're tired at the end of the day, you're putting in the hours, and all of that creates the feeling of progress even when you're really moving sideways or backward. This is one of the more painful realizations a person can have, looking back and seeing that years of genuine effort were pointed somewhere that was never going to produce what they actually wanted. Not because they lacked discipline, but because they never paused long enough to seriously question the direction. Where you aim your time is where your life goes. That sounds almost too obvious to bother saying, but don't let the simplicity fool you. Your time is the most limited resource you've got, and where you consistently point, it shapes your future with almost mathematical precision. The person who consistently points their time at developing a skill will have that skill. The person who consistently points it at building a certain kind of relationship will have that relationship. The person who consistently points it at growing financially will see financial results. And the person who consistently points it at distraction, avoidance, and low-value stuff will get exactly what those directions produce. There's no mystery here. The direction of your time is the direction of your life, and you're always pointed somewhere, whether you chose that direction on purpose or just drifted into it. Attention works the same way. Where your attention consistently goes, your thinking develops. Where your thinking develops, your decisions get better. Where your decisions get better, your outcomes change. That's why managing your attention is one of the most powerful disciplines out there. The person who's learned to direct their attention on purpose, who can choose what to focus on instead of just reacting to whatever's loudest, has an advantage that compounds over time. Because attention isn't just a tool for getting stuff done in the moment. It's the mechanism that builds understanding, solves problems, and uncovers better approaches. When you control where your attention goes, you're controlling the quality of your thinking, and the quality of your thinking shapes every decision you make. Energy is the third piece, and it follows the same logic. You've got a limited supply of energy each day. Every bit you spend in one direction is energy you don't have for something else. So when you say yes to one thing, you're quietly saying no to something else, whether you realize it or not. The person spreading their energy across 10 things at once rarely makes real progress on any of them, because the energy is too spread out to build enough momentum in any single direction. But the person who's learned to focus their energy, who's picked a direction and invested in it with real consistency, starts to see what concentrated effort over time actually looks like. It looks like progress that other people can't quite explain, but there's nothing mysterious about it once you understand the principle. When the direction is wrong, working harder doesn't fix it. That needs to be said plainly, because there's a common assumption that when results aren't showing up, the answer is always to grind more. Sometimes that's true, but sometimes the problem isn't effort, it's aim. And in those cases, working harder without changing direction isn't a solution. It's accelerating down the wrong path. The honest, and sometimes uncomfortable question to ask when things aren't working isn't just, how much harder can I push? It's also, am I pushing in a direction that can actually get me where I want to go? That question takes a willingness to step back and evaluate, which is harder than just pushing forward, but it's way more useful when direction is the real issue. Adjusting direction is not the same as giving up, and it's important to be clear about that. There are people who change direction so often they never develop anything anywhere, and that's a real problem worth talking about separately. But there are also people who stay on a path long after the evidence has made it obvious that the path can't get them where they need to go. And they stay not out of discipline, but because they don't want to face the possibility that they've been aimed wrong. Discipline pointed in the wrong direction is still misdirected effort. Being loyal to an approach that isn't working isn't a virtue when the approach itself is the problem. Knowing when to adjust your aim is just as important as knowing how to keep grinding, and the two don't conflict with each other when your head is on straight. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is admit the direction needs to change, and then actually change it. Here's what changes when the direction is right. Even modest effort starts producing useful results. That's one of the most encouraging things about getting your aim right. It means you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be extraordinary. You don't have to be some tireless machine. You just have to be pointed the right way and put in steady, reasonable effort. When you're aimed correctly, the cumulative effect of that consistency starts showing up in your results in ways that feel way bigger than what you put in. That feeling isn't an illusion. It's what happens when your effort compounds because it's building in one clear direction instead of being scattered everywhere, or worse, pointed somewhere that was never going to give you what you wanted. There's also the matter of what you run into along the way, and direction determines that too. The people you meet, the problems you face, the lessons that become available, the opportunities that pop up. All of that is shaped heavily by the direction you're moving in. When you're headed toward a certain kind of work, you naturally cross paths with people doing that work. When you're headed toward a certain kind of growth, you naturally bump into the challenges that produce it. Life isn't totally predictable, but it's not totally random either. The direction you're moving in shapes the territory you pass through, and the territory you pass through shapes what becomes possible for you. Choosing your direction carefully is, in a very real way, choosing the kind of experiences and opportunities you're likely to encounter. You can't control every outcome, and it'd be foolish to pretend otherwise. There are variables in every situation that are out of your hands. Circumstances shift, timing doesn't always cooperate, results disappoint even when you gave it your best. That's real and worth acknowledging. But within all that uncertainty, the one thing you can control with real consistency is where you aim. You can choose where to point your time, your attention, and your energy. You can make that choice on purpose instead of letting it get made for you by habit or by whatever's screaming loudest on any given day. And that choice, made consistently over time, has more influence over what's possible for you than almost anything else. Direction is the variable you own most completely, and the person who understands that treats the choice of direction like it actually matters. There's a boundary in every person's life that doesn't show up on any map and isn't set by anyone else. It's the boundary defined by what they're willing to accept, not what they say they want, not the standard they claim when talking to other people, but what they actually let slide without correcting it, without responding to it, without doing anything about it. That boundary is real, and it acts as a ceiling on performance in every area where it's operating. You can have ambitions that reach way above that ceiling. You can talk about those ambitions openly and sincerely. You can genuinely believe in them. But as long as the ceiling is where it is, the ambitions above it stay out of reach. Not because you lack the ability, but because the standard you actually enforce in your daily life hasn't risen to match the standard you claim to be chasing. Most people don't set their ceiling on purpose. Nobody sits down one day and decides how much mediocrity they're okay living with. It happens gradually, through a bunch of small passes that each seem reasonable at the time. You let one thing slide because the situation was unusual. You accept a lower level of effort from yourself because you were tired or distracted or stressed. You tolerate a situation that deserves your attention because dealing with it feels uncomfortable and ignoring it seems manageable in the short term. Each of these little passes seems minor. But they're not small events that vanish once the moment is over. They're precedents, and precedents stack up into patterns, and patterns harden into what feels like the normal range of your behavior. And that normal range becomes the ceiling you operate under without even realizing it's a ceiling. This is how limits that feel permanent get built. Not through one dramatic failure or one decisive moment of weakness, but through the slow buildup of what you allowed. The person wondering why a certain area of their life has never improved, despite genuinely wanting it to, would benefit from asking a different question. Instead of asking why the results aren't there, ask what you've been consistently tolerating in that area. Ask what you've been letting continue that directly contradicts the result you say you want. Ask where you've been accepting less than you know is possible without making the fixes that would bring things back to where they need to be. The answers to those questions will tell you more about your ceiling than any analysis of talent or opportunity ever could. Small passes are especially dangerous because they're almost invisible when they first happen. When you make a big compromise, you tend to notice it. It feels significant, it registers as a departure from your standard, and even if you go through with it, you're aware you did. But small passes rarely trigger that kind of awareness. They slip past your internal checkpoint because they seem too minor to bother with. Why address something so small when there are bigger things to deal with? That logic makes sense in isolation. The problem is that small passes don't stay isolated. They connect to each other and reinforce each other, and over time they create a general atmosphere of going easy on yourself that becomes self-sustaining. The habit of letting small things go trains you to let things go, period. Eventually, the bar for what feels worth correcting rises to the point where real problems are sliding through without you doing anything about them. What you allow from yourself, you start to expect from yourself. That's the mechanism by which tolerances become ceilings. When you've let a certain level of performance stand uncorrected often enough, that level starts to feel normal. It stops feeling like you're falling short and starts feeling like that's just where you are. And once it feels normal, your internal alarm system stops going off. The discomfort that used to come with underperforming fades, not because the performance got better, but because your sense of what's acceptable quietly lowered itself to match what you've been allowing. That's one of the more subtle and serious costs of repeated tolerance. It doesn't just leave the problem in place, It rewires your ability to even recognize the problem as a problem. Here's what makes this especially worth understanding. The ceiling created by tolerance isn't some permanent structural feature of who you are. It's a behavioral thing, something built through repeated choices that can be changed through different choices. The person who spent years tolerating a certain level of performance isn't stuck there forever. They're stuck there for as long as they keep permitting it. The moment they start holding themselves to a genuinely different standard, and more importantly, the moment they start enforcing that standard consistently, the ceiling starts to move. Not instantly, and not without the friction that comes with breaking old patterns, but it moves. Because the ceiling was never made of something permanent. It was made of repeated passes, and passes can be replaced with corrections. Deciding that something is no longer acceptable is a powerful move, but it has to be followed by behavior that matches the decision. This is where a lot of people come up short. They make the decision, they feel the clarity and conviction of it, and they believe the decision itself has changed something. But a decision without consistent follow-up action is just a feeling. And feelings without matching action don't move ceilings. What actually moves the ceiling is the repeated act of catching yourself slipping and responding differently than you used to, of holding the line when the old pull toward tolerance kicks in. It's about proving to yourself through your behavior over time that the new standard is the one you actually live by, not just the one you announced. The announcement matters, but it's the follow-through that produces the change. There's a connection between what you tolerate and the respect you have for yourself, and it runs deeper than most people look. When you consistently let your own standards slip without correcting them, something wears away in your relationship with yourself. Not in a dramatic way, not in a way that announces itself, but quietly and steadily. You start carrying a subtle sense that your commitments to yourself don't fully mean what they seem to mean. That the standards you set are negotiable in practice, even if they sound solid in principle. And that erosion doesn't stay contained to the one area where the tolerance is happening. It spreads a general uncertainty about your own word that bleeds into your confidence in other areas, that makes the next commitment feel a little less binding, that makes the next standard a little easier to let slide. Tolerances don't just affect the area they operate in, they affect the whole foundation of your self-trust. When you decide that certain things are no longer acceptable, and you prove it through your behavior, the opposite happens. Each time you catch the slip and correct it, each time you hold the standard when it'd be easier not to, you're building something more valuable than the specific improvement in that specific area. You're building evidence that your standards mean something, that your decisions carry weight, that when you commit to a level of performance, you'll actually maintain it. That evidence stacks up into a kind of self-trust that makes every future standard easier to hold, because you've shown yourself over and over that you're someone who follows through. The ceiling moves not just because the tolerance changed, but because the person doing the tolerating changed. What you refuse to accept ultimately shapes the person you're becoming, and it does so more precisely than almost anything else. Goals and intentions describe where you want to go, but the standards you enforce in your daily behavior describe where you're actually going. When those two are lined up, progress becomes almost inevitable. When they're misaligned, when your stated goals point one direction and your enforced standards point another, the standards win every time. They win because they're what you actually do. And what you actually do is what produces your actual results. The most important question isn't what you want to achieve. The most important question is what you're prepared to stop accepting. Because the answer to that will do more to shape your future than anything you've written on a goal sheet or announced to the people around you.